All right, welcome to the Fairfield Shellfish Commission meeting, November 9th, 2022. We'll call to order. We have a quorum. Present are Tim Macklin, Cindy Wakeman, John Short, Lizette Enhofer, Sean Cohen. We have a few members of the public. So, go to, hold on. Is everyone you need here or no?
I can go without them.
All right, because I can put you now if you want.
Sure.
All right, so we're going to change the order and go straight to old business, discussion on proposal to dredge section of the channel in Lower Pine Creek. So everyone has a picture and the LWRD license application. So we have...
Hi, John, it's Bruce.
Alexandra Moss,
Hey, Bruce.
and I'm with the Pine Creek Association.
Did you get that?
A summary of the permit, which was issued in 2012.
2012 this was issued?
The date is at the end. I think
Oh, 2000, got it.
16, I think,
All right.
expired.
So what are we going over, this license application?
So yes, so we need the consultation form for the application with Connecticut DEP. We would like to reapply for the dredging, the same areas which were approved before, and I'm giving you the little map and the summary of how much of the sediment supposed to be removed and which areas is A and B. And we're hoping that we can get your blessing, and also we are looking forward to have you as a partner for this project. It is going to be a very expensive project, but the reason why we would like to have a permit is because we can have a storm event anytime, and we would like to be ready to react if there is such a need. And also, once you have a permit or the certificate of permission from Connecticut DEP, then we're open for applying to any grants because we basically have shovel-ready projects. As you know, Pine Creek is a precious place which actually connects the tidal water with the fresh water, and we have this huge area of marshes which really needs this tidal flow, and we have to maintain the tidal flow. That's why the dredging is really important. So in order to prepare the application, there were several requirements and several consultation forms were supposed to be filled out, and your commission was one of the selected by Connecticut DEP to review our project and give us your blessings. And we did have a conversation with John before. I had a conversation with John before, and he was in support of this project, and you discussed this maybe a year ago, I think.
Yeah, it was like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
when we took a walk around out there?
Yeah.
When did you come on the commission?
September of, like 2 years ago?
Yeah,
Just 2
December
years ago.
14th, yeah, a year ago, so in 2021.
So, we remember all that.
And we're back here because as we understand that we would like to work with you and your needs and the restoration needs of the area, we also would like to recognize that the project is going to be very expensive. And at this point, we don't want to commit in something which is either not doable or is going to make the project more expensive. And we're hoping that you can give us your blessing with the discussion which we had originally, which was if we're going to be disturbing or damaging any of the shellfish beds, we are going to be restoring them. But we are struggling with the last paragraph, which was added to the consultation form, which also asks us for more restoration, not just the one which we are going to causing the impact to, but additional one. This is how I read this. And then also it's asking for planting. Now, because all those properties own the either the embankment or we have bulkheads along the creek, along the area where we're going to be doing the dredging, I don't really see how we can add any plants because it's either heavy boulders, paving of the slope, or you have bulkheads. So and then we'll have to ask private property owners whether they would like us to put plants, which I don't think is going to work. So we don't want to be held to it because I think this may be problematic.
Is there another page to this?
What's that?
Is there another page to this?
Well, there are 2 pages, but I copied this on both
This
sides.
is the last paragraph you're talking about?
Yeah. The last paragraph, we did agree to the first paragraph, and we are very thankful for it. But the second one was added at the meeting of yours, which we didn't attend because we were told not to. And that was something we did not discuss, so...
Where's the part about planting grass?
There's in the paragraph, there's not planting grass, it's about planting along the edge.
Well, you have to show me that too. I know we've talked about it, but I don't see it in that paragraph.
Yeah, no, I don't see it either.
So I'm wondering if you have a different...
The first paragraph.
The first paragraph of what, the whole thing? Okay.
And the first paragraph of your comment.
Vital habitat restoration, including planting native vegetation.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Aquatic.
We really don't have any say in you guys planting native vegetation. We're basically worried about the oysters. There were a few patches on it. It's not, it's not, we're not talking about millions of oysters and millions of shells. We're talking about, in the thousands. There was a few different spots that we located. We have the house numbers and that. The truth is, if the oysters, if you're going to be dredging in there, whoever's doing the dredging, maybe before low tide, comes in, rakes them up, puts them back in, gives them to us or whatever. We'll put them somewhere else, and then when you're done, we'll put shell in there and
So would you like
put
us
the oysters back.
to recover the oyster before the dredging? That's what you're saying? Because I don't think this is very clear here.
Right. So that's what I'm saying right now. It doesn't say it really on here. What does it say exactly? It says, however, the Commission requests that dredging operations use best management practices and professional care, and that if any natural oyster beds are damaged or removed, the beds be restored using mulch and live oysters.
Right.
Right.
So we're okay with the restoration, and we're obviously going to be doing it, and we feel responsible for it. But
I don't think there's any dollars attached to that.
we don't want to be subjected to the planting on the shore.
Yeah, I don't even see the plan. You must have a different application.
Yeah, you have a different. We don't
see
have
anything
that
with
on
the
our page.
planting
So
in
it's
here.
kind of
The
funny
one you gave
what we're
us.
looking at.
Doesn't have planting in here.
I'm reading it. All
Might
it
have
says
been-
is mulch and oysters. It doesn't say a word about vegetation.
I guess
I don't know whether like.
I mean, if you can
two
show me
versions?
where it is in here, then
I'm not crazy.
no.
Hold on. Maybe that's a version? I don't think so.
Do we have an old version, a new version?
Yeah, so it looks like it
Right.
was removed.
Commissioner should have versions
on your page.
Well, the one we were given just right now doesn't have it on there, so I'm just confused as to why there's 2 different versions of them. Did you talk to Tim about it? Tim, are you there?
Yeah, you guys have the revised version.
Oh, so this is the revised version with the plantings removed.
That's correct. That's so you could vote on that language.
Got it.
Okay.
So, got it.
Then
So if
thank
we're,
you.
yeah,
That's why, because I
Okay.
think the other one, and I'm like, what is it?
Got it.
So-
Copied it.
which
Okay,
I think we're
So
fine
the
with.
only thing just to want to go over real quick, is we're looking at, this is something from 2012, but you're going to clear the mouth, then you want to dredge all the way back around the corner?
Yes, we're going to go to the first island.
The first island, and leave the second island there?
Yeah.
All right.
We're going to be mimicking what was approved previously, because if we go farther, then it's going to be new application, new information,
Right.
new survey, and so we would like to do the minimum. And I think
And you're talking about
Area
at low tide, you're talking about that sandy island in the middle around the corner?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the area B, we're not going to be probably dredging because it's significant. It's pretty deep deposit. So this is the
You're gonna have to
spit,
point to
the end
area
of the
B.
spit. So this is B.
Mm-hmm.
So this pit which keeps growing, and it's
And you're not gonna judge that?
thick. We're just going to have an opening, like meaningful
Okay.
opening, but we're not going to be removing the entire thing as shown on the map because it's just going to be too expensive.
Right.
So hold on. Let me just.
I mean, preferably, if you're not gonna do that,
Yeah, I
don't
think
see-
Tim removed the language.
Administrator of clean oyster shell in dredge area.
Yeah.
The daughter is oyster and native vegetation here, planting native vegetation.
Yeah, I
Not
think
planting native vegetation.
I think Tim removed that line because that's the line you guys are,
Okay.
yeah, that's
that's what
gone.
you want us to consider removing,
see
so
that
we're
I
okay.
have two
If it's
versions.
not
I
in
gave
there,
you
it's not in
one,
there.
and
We
I
don't wanna
have
talk
another
about
one with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think Tim did this so that if we
Okay.
approve it tonight, then this is the one that's gonna go through.
So we know there's, according, to this here, we have 4 places where there's oysters. We have some pictures.
Okay.
We're not talking about, massive oyster reefs. We're talking about a patch of oysters the size of this table.
And actually,
Yeah.
when I was talking to the association, there were several boat owners, which they said we'll be happy. It's like
Yeah,
it's
so
not a
what
big
we-
chore.
what we
We'd
do
like
would
to do
be-
it.
Assess before.
Yeah, we have the pictures of where it is, and what we would really want would be the oysters removed, like someone would get a rake or whatever, whoever's on the judging team should know a little bit about rake remediation or, be able to do that.
Maybe we'll invite one of you to inspect and overseeing it.
Sure.
So you will provide us with your.
Yeah, or I could meet with them, or one of us could meet with them beforehand at low tide and just point it out and say, if you can rake those oysters up, if you can't and you judge them out, where's the spoils gonna go anyway?
Well, they're going to go to the beaches.
All right, so the oysters are up on the beach or in the water?
So we can't deposit anything below the coastal jurisdiction line, so we're going to go above 5.2.
So if you sucked up any oysters, they're
So
liable
we'll
to die.
start with the beach across the street, and then if you have extra material, and probably we will, I don't know again how much we can afford to spread. If we have extra material, it will go to other beaches.
All right. I don't see any problem with what you're doing. The restoration part of it is it's a minimal.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking like, you're not talking days. The hours of time. It's not really a big thing. We have plenty of shell we could
Yeah, you want to
provide
pay
for the
shell.
restoration.
Yeah.
And
Just identifying the spots before and
if you can't save the oysters there, maybe we could go with a member of your team or the association, and they could collect some oysters in one of our areas and put them in each spot from their boat
Sure,
or something
yeah.
like that.
No, I did discuss this with the
Yeah, this isn't where you have to hire someone to
association
do
members,
this.
and they were willing to do this, and they were actually happy
All right.
to do it.
Okay. Any questions?
As long as this is clear, what we have to do, so we're recovering what we can recover.
Yep.
And replanting what we.
what was damaged.
Yeah, plantings, that's going out of our thing, so
Yeah.
we don't need to say
And
it.
then also we're doing the not the topography but the bathymetry of the creek again because DP asked us. So we're going to be determining how wide the channel is going to be. The original dredging in 1960 was doing 50 feet. I don't think we can afford it, so we're probably going to be a little bit tighter. And also we don't want to go too close to the revetment. We don't want to be too close to the bulkhead because you never know what the reaction is going to be, and we don't want to cause any structural undermining.
So the funding, you're looking for funding from the residents, funding from the town?
So we'll be looking for, for all sources, and there'll be grants, which right now nothing is available, but, they come and go, so we'll be watching for them. And also we would like to expand, probably sending letters to entire neighborhood of the marsh area, because they have to understand if the mouth of the creek closes, they're going to be flooded for a longer time, because as soon as the water gets in, it's going to be blocked, and then anything which comes down with the river is going to be flooding them. So it's going to be benefiting them as well. And then, obviously the environmental issues, DEP loves our project, and they would like to keep protecting
I'm going to tell you,
the
I did the
marsh,
walkthrough,
so.
and there's some boats in there that look too big to get out. And my concern is that they're not getting their tanks pumped out. So where's that going? If they're using the boat, that. So I want the boats out of those. There's some really large boats back there, over 30 feet. It's called a creek. So, you know, I mean, I'd love to put something in this language that says that, you know, the only boats back there would be allowed don't have a head on them, you know. But I don't think we have that kind of power. So,
No.
but other than that, I don't think we have any concerns. As long as you follow that little bit of remediation.
Okay.
You guys, Sean, Tim, Lizette, anything?
Yep.
You good?
okay.
All right.
Will you be able to
Good.
sign this document so I can take it home and scan it and
Which one do you want me to sign?
This is the revised.
Well, just make sure that you sign the right.
I have the one without the,
Yeah, it's got the removal of the
Without
vegetation.
planting and
Yeah.
Your pen.
yeah.
Tim's.
Yep, that pencil. He's got the one right
There we go.
here.
This is just the first part of this, right? You have more.
Well, actually,
More to
now
go,
we're,
right?
we're almost done. We're done with all the consultation forms.
Mhm.
The only thing which is missing is the bathymetry, because we have to show the exact area where it's going to be dredged. So that's hopefully the last question they have. And then also we did some sediment analysis, which we were excited with it. Analysis for PCBs and PFAS, and they all came negative, so that's very good news.
Yep. All right. You know, I grew up here. We lived in Fairfield for 55 years. I used to fish for flounder right there.
Oh.
So you need to stop there because that island's always been there.
John, I thought you were 33.
Yeah, I am. All right.
So thank you so
I
much.
signed
for,
it. You
yes,
want the
can I have
copy, right?
my pen back
Let's see.
to make a copy?
Yeah.
Or maybe you can sign another one, so then
Tim,
you
is
will
there
have...
a way to make a copy here easily?
There
you
is,
sent?
down the hall, but it's not very easy.
What about this one behind Joanne's desk? Oh, it's just a printer.
Yeah, that's just a printer.
Scan it
All
with
right,
your
let's just
phone.
take pictures.
Use on your phone, under your notes, you can scan it.
No?
There's one copy. We'll take a picture of it.
I will scan it and send it back to you.
Scan it
Yeah.
and email it over
Yeah.
to Tim Bishop so
Don,
it can go in our file.
Scan it with your phone.
I don't have a phone like that.
You don't have an Apple?
I do, but I don't think it works that way.
On notes.
The older Apple. It might be the user.
Well, thank
Doesn't
you.
know how to make it work that way.
Thank you for
All right,
coming
thank you
out.
for coming. All right.
Language, please, to make sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I've read that paragraph like 4 times. I'm like, we got it for a long time. All right, so let's. You're the only Westport representative. Oh,
Yep.
you're okay. Sorry. We're gonna skip. We're gonna change again the format, and now we're gonna go to new business. Number 2, Town of Westport shell collection interest. So I haven't heard. I know that Tim might have went to a meeting, but I have no idea. So why don't you tell us what you guys are looking to do and how we can help you?
You want to head?
You can kick it off.
Okay, we heard about your shell recycling program. It has been kind of it was on our former director's, radar for a while that she wanted to do something with shell recycling.
Mm-hmm.
It was brought up to our commission as far as starting a program in Westport. We started a discussion. It is highly unlikely that there is a location in Westport for us to
Deposit.
have space
Mm-hmm.
and a secure space in which to do it. And we invited Tim to try and get an idea of what your program is about in order to see if we could do something together, do a joint venture. The commission has expressed some interest. There are several members that are willing to possibly reach out to some of the Westport restaurants. We have at our dump added the food recycling area. So there's a potential to maybe add another bin there where we could add a shell
depository, and then obviously one of the things that interests us is you currently have that active program where you've dedicated an area, and Tim, I think Tim's on the line. Tim indicated that there would be plenty of room if we were to be able to do that. We're looking at the logistics of how to go about doing it, and really wanted to better understand how it's working for you, how you go about handling the collection. I know that Precious was, she had stopped in, and she, I guess, was doing some collection.
She has Rachel Precious.
Rachel Precious
does her own shucking business, etc. She participates in your shell recycling. She's also worked for LaPlage and for the Welk, and knows why they, has given us some background as to why they kind of withdrew, and given us some ideas as to why they may have withdrawn. But now it's, all right, how do we reach out to some of these restaurants and give us an idea of what is your pitch to these restaurants, and
also the sense of is there a way to create public participation to where people are involved in the food recycling program, where they're depositing their waste. That appears to be fairly successful so far. More people are participating in it, so there's an active interest and enough people that would independently go to the transfer station and be able to drop that off. And then, there became the other issue. We've approached, we've had conversations with Norm Bloom about, some of what he wants to do, and I think he's expressed some concern about adding foreign shells into the process. He's concerned that pathogens and things like that from other areas can contaminate. If better understanding how the turn of the period of incubation or curing, or whatever, and how that happens, and I haven't actually wanted to do it today. I didn't get a chance to get over there and take a look at it, but I did indicate to Tim that I would make a point to see the collection. But we're interested in doing something and doing it in a way that is impactful, and more than anything. And you, as I said to Tim Bishop when he was at our meeting, you've encouraged us and to want to pursue this and follow that guidance. And so then, my understanding was that there was some concern about a new protocol coming out for shell collection, because a lot of other towns are interested in doing the same thing for restoration purposes, much I think the same way you're handling it. And that was a classic example of where and how successful that can be, because you now have resources to be able to help them restore or enhance the shellfish beds, and that's beneficial, And Norm Bloom has certainly expressed that if Westport could set up a program, and he was really concerned. He said, how do you distinguish between the local and you can't. And then the other issue is and I guess part of I've talked to a couple of the restaurateurs about it that have participated in the program, and their whole issue is, it's great, it feels good, but the problem is it's hard for us, when somebody's plating oysters and things just get thrown in the trash, a lemon gets thrown in or this gets thrown in, how that gets separated out. And many times, if there is additional material in the oyster shells, or clam shells or whatever, then it's for naught, basically. I think.
So I'm gonna have Tim Macklin take over and just talk about our program for a little while.
Yeah.
But as for the Welk, and that we used to collect from the Welk, and we used to collect from
The Pearl.
Pearl.
Yep.
Pearl's out of business now. But then Norm Bloom took over, so we stopped going that far out,
Right.
and we were getting too many shells anyway at the time. As for shells from other areas, Connecticut's the only state on the East Coast that doesn't put shell back in the water. We're the only ones that think that we have to put it in the landfill. But that's changing now, and there's a guide. So Tim's going to go over everything, right?
Yeah, sure.
You got it?
Yeah.
And let you know how our program works,
Yeah.
what did we do with our shell, and then we're going to ask you some questions about if we were partners, what our role in the partnership would be, because we are volunteers, and
As we are.
we only have so
we're
much
not looking to
time and energy.
pile on.
Right. So,
You
all right.
want more shells onto your agenda.
Yeah. So Tim will let you know about it.
Have you guys gotten the state regulations on shell recycling yet? Have you read through those at all?
I haven't seen them yet,
Okay.
and that's why I need to reach out to, I'm the staff person, my
Yeah.
name is Susan Bork.
Yeah.
I'm the staff person for, the Shellfish Program in Westport, as well as the Conservation Department.
Yeah.
Colin and I are supposed to be reaching out to
Yeah.
Dave
Yeah.
sometime this week.
Yeah, if you reach out to Dave or Tessa and just let her know that you're interested and you spoke to us, they'll send you the guidelines, and it details basically all of the regulations that they've established. So I think definitely you should read over that.
Yeah. Dave indicated that there's a change possible of protocol.
The only change it could be, I mean, the big issues are, so there is some question about curing. So some people do it for 6 months, some people say a year. So I'm not sure exactly what he's referring to, but it could be just extending the curing time to a year, which is not a problem. We've been doing it for 7 years, so we don't get the shell in that fast. So. But the big issue is any oysters coming over from Europe. So there's a virus there that they don't want introducing here. So as part of those regulations, they have language about partnerships with restaurants that don't import oysters from Europe. So you have to, whatever restaurants you approach, you have to make sure that they're not
specific.
Yes, exactly, that they're only getting oysters from North America. They can come from Canada or West Coast or East Coast, but nothing from Europe. There's a specific.
I've yet to run into anybody in West.
The only person that might be the Welk. I mean, it's usually really high-end, fancy restaurants because they cost so much money to bring in.
Yeah.
So it's not an issue that we've run into. But you have to ask them, and you have to sign. The state is asking you to sign a contract with the restaurant. This will basically protect the restaurant and its contract that says you'll guarantee that you're going to pick up the shells once a week, and they'll notify you that they're not gonna bring in any oysters from Europe. So, but. It's in the regulations say that. As far as approaching restaurants is the hardest thing. Restaurants are super busy, so they're always number one skeptical about. I think you're probably selling them something, so it's hard to get them on board. I've approached restaurants 6, 7, 8 times and still got no answer. I can give you we have kind of an informational pamphlet that explains what the program is. I usually drop it off at restaurants. It's 50-50 whether they'll call it back to you. You really need to talk to an owner or manager personally. So you have to be persistent. So the Welk, like I said, we had a program with them. It was going great. Norm kind of just took it over, which was fine. But they were on board with it. And Dave Tavy, I think his name is the chef there, he was all for it, so I'm sure he wouldn't have a problem restarting it with you again. I don't have any contacts at where the Pearl used to be.
Yeah, it's
La Plage. So you just have to approach them again. But I would suggest starting small, 2 restaurants probably. 2. I wouldn't go any more than 3 to start it out.
I have one Hudson Malone, which
Yeah.
in Westport, and he would be on board
Okay.
to do it.
Yeah, so then I would suggest probably start with 3. We do weekly pickup. I can send you pictures or show you buckets. If you want to come on and pick up with me, I can take. I do them once a week.
Guys, also this is Sean Cowan.
Yeah.
I'm personal friends with Brian Lewis, who owns Oko and the Cottage. So if either of those are on your hit list, we can go see them together.
Okay, great.
Great.
Thank you.
So we use these 5-gallon buckets. They're screw on top. We get them from Uline. You need twice as many, just because as you drop buckets off, you need to return. Exactly. Exactly. So I mean, it ranges. At busy season times, we could pick up as many as 12 buckets from restaurants, or as few as 1 or 2. So it depends on how busy the restaurant is, and then what time of year it is. So.
And from a time perspective, how much time are you? And I understand as John pointed out, you're all volunteers.
Yeah.
Volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
How much time is it consuming?
Yeah. I mean, at our busiest time when we had 5, 6, 7 restaurants in Westport and Fairfield, it was probably 4 hours. I would do it on a Sunday or Saturday. It'd take 4 or 5 hours. Now that we're down to like 2 or 3 restaurants, about an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on how many buckets is to clean them out and that kind of stuff. So it's not a huge time of commitment. We've had people reach out to us about volunteering and helping. It's extremely helpful to have a pickup truck, especially in the summertime. So yeah, summertime it's when it gets real nasty. We have these screw top lids that seal the buckets, but a lot of the restaurants won't secure them properly, so you're going to deal with flies and maggots, and it's going to be stinky.
They fill the bucket.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah. And you
me.
need to pick up at least once a week.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go any more, especially in the summertime.
You don't want that on the restaurant either. The restaurant
No.
doesn't want that.
Yeah. Yeah, you need to establish a good place for them to leave them. Most of them will establish them like just out back by a dumpster.
Right.
And that's where I'll just go pick them up. I'll leave the clean buckets there and take full buckets. So it should be a place outside, typically either by where they have to keep the grease or a dumpster.
Well, grease.
Yeah.
I talked to Hudson Malone about
Yeah.
this, and, if we could put it up by the
Yeah.
grease collection.
Yeah, that's usually the best kind of spot.
Why don't you just keep going, never miss a pickup?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
We have our number on there, so in case they're super busy and they fill up all of their buckets in a few days, they'll call me and I'll come pick them up.
Right.
So you need to have, obviously clearly labeled buckets.
To do that.
Yeah. And then, we clean the buckets with like a bleach solution.
Mm-hmm.
So I have just a pump sprayer that I fill with bleach and water, spray them out, let it sit for 5 minutes. So you need access to, we at our drop site, we have a hose. So if you were to do a partnership with us, I can show you. We got a hose, basically just hose out the buckets and clean them out there. But no, I mean, we've had a successful program. We've collected almost 80,000 pounds of shell since we started in 2015. We start small and just kind of build up as much as you can.
And in terms of turning over the bed and how that works?
We would, if you were to use our site, then we would just take care of that. So we basically have a designated site that has shell that's been cured for over a year. And then we have a working pile that we just keep adding to. And that gets it'll occasionally get, mostly when they move it over to the long-term site, it gets turned there. As far as trash, you literally have to pick through it. Like you're going to get organic material, I'm not worried about, so lemons, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You find forks, towels, rubber gloves. We do oyster festivals, so we've gotten little packets of lemon juice, all that kind of stuff.
All in all, though, it's really...
It's not that much.
Not a lot.
Yeah, so, and every restaurant is going to be different. So, but you just have to get in there and just pick it out. So, some other states that do it will actually run their shells through like a tumbler and clean them. We don't do that. Ours sit long enough because we don't get them back, and take us a while to get them back in the water.
Put them in once a year.
Yeah. So we have pot shells that are probably 6 years old, 5 years old.
Wow. They're probably just limestone.
So, yeah, I would recommend just doing a couple of restaurants, and then, like I said, if you want to come out, we can show you our collection site. You can do a pickup with me. And then if it's something that you guys are interested in doing, you can just start throwing it into our pile. And, we do keep track of everything, so I have like a spreadsheet, so I just log when I picked up, how many buckets I had. We roughly calculate the wet weight at like 30 pounds a bucket.
30 pounds a bucket, right.
So,
That's what I was
so we just have a running spreadsheet so we can keep track of how much we've collected, from what restaurants and stuff like that.
The dry shell is like somewhere between 20 and 25, wet is about 30, and there's about 250 shells in a bucket.
Yeah.
So in
So
3 years,
if you have the transparent bucket and guess how many shells are in it?
There you go.
it's about 250. 252. I'll add in. So in 3 years, you're going to have 40,000 pounds of shell in a big pile. What are you going to do with it?
And that's another thing. Norm Bloom has expressed he'll take all the shell he can get.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but there might be some interest on Westport Shellfish Commission to try and do some work within one of the, like the Saugatuck.
Well, the
River.
Saugatuck, at the entrance to the Saugatuck, especially, that.
So you're kind of interested in just making sure the shell doesn't go into the ash dump event.
Well,
Right now, we need to work on our own management plan.
correct.
And I've looked at you guys, which is absolutely fabulous. Somebody in a past commission, a past director, has done a fabulous job, and we need to look at it, and ours needs,
A lot of work.
ours is our commercial red.
Yeah.
We don't even have commercial red.
Yeah.
But with, we're looking at some restoration, issues also now. And obviously with the upcoming dredging of the Saugatuck and, that we're gonna be faced with, that challenge, but also, really increasing some of the restoration, at the mouth and doing something like that. So,
Great
But
way.
it's
kind of on our
not that, it's longer term goals.
Yeah, that's all right.
But we're looking at, let's do something with the shell rather than it showing up in the landfill.
Yeah,
And,
Yeah.
this is a worthy cause.
Yeah, you don't have to use it right away, so it'll be there.
Correct.
So,
it doesn't,
Yeah, and
it's
just-
not- it's
yeah.
just there and it's good and it goes right back out.
Worst case scenario, just sell it for $5 a bushel bag and buy clams with it.
But, we have the resources for our clam beds within the river right now.
I'm going to tell you, I could go over to Westport and figure out where to put that shell in like 1 minute, so.
Yeah, but,
no.
right now, we're,
I feel the same way. There are certain things, but I'm like a little pushing on that, but you're right.
Yeah.
We have to.
we need to start working on our management plan first.
Yeah.
And we can't just come in and say, we want it, we're gonna give it to you and let you guys do all the work. We need to put in the work and then, say, okay, we have a defined plan and
Right.
we'll talk to you about it.
I guess the good analogy is we don't want a Tom Sawyer, be the Tom Sawyer, and, here's the paintbrush.
Yeah.
And we want to participate and obviously no point in reinventing something that works very well.
It's very simple. It's
It's
just
very simple.
commitment to
and,
doing that, really.
And, as I said to Tim, it was wonderful that he came and politely kicked us in the rear to want to look at this a little, closer and really with more, effort. But, thank you very much for sharing your insight and then, Tim, I'll reach out to you, and, through email.
Yeah, I can give you my personal, if you send one to the Shellfish Commission, it goes to all of us. I mean,
Okay.
we all get it.
I'll send it to we can send it out to the
Tim is the point man on shell.
on the reclamation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I'm Jamie Walsh.
Please have your name again. Susan. Last name is Boris, B as in Victor, O-R-I-S. Thank you.
Great. Well, we look forward to, hopefully working it out with you guys and like I said, just reach out to us, and whenever you have time and want to come on a run, I can show you how
That'd
it
be
all
great.
works.
That would be
Okay.
wonderful.
Yeah.
And, as far as Colin and I, the commission has said your flyer on your recycling for the time being.
Mhm.
We're going to put that up on Westport Shellfish Commission's webpage. We're putting out a public notice right before Thanksgiving,
Mm-hmm.
as far as, a public notice, so that, hopefully it goes up on like the town webpage, supporting you guys' efforts, so
Mhm.
that we know that the clams are part of Thanksgiving feast, et cetera,
Mhm.
so that people will know about it.
That'd be great.
So we're going to start adding some of this in prior to Thanksgiving,
Great.
and everything will be up, and we're going to add direct links to how to get to your area.
Yep.
Yeah. Richard White Way.
Yep.
Great.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank
so
you
much
for coming.
having us.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for
Thank
coming.
you so
and
much for having
Yeah,
us.
we look forward
It's a
to
pleasure.
working with you guys.
To meet all of you.
Yeah.
And,
Likewise.
thank you, Tim, if he's still on.
Yeah, I think he's still.
Okay.
They said
Yeah, thank you all.
All right.
Pleasure to meet you. Thank you. Have a
All
good
right,
night.
Have a good night. Thank you.
All right, we're going back to the beginning here. Bills and communications. Committee reports, clam relay and planting.
Do we have to approve the minutes?
Oh,
Yeah.
it's, where is that on here? So we're backwards on the approval of the minutes is gonna be, section 3.
Oh, okay. All right.
They changed it.
Oh,
so
okay.
I guess it's gonna stay that way. So we'll just put had our call to order, bills and communications, committee reports, clam relay and planting. So we've been closed for almost a month and a half or something like that. I probably should have got we did a market buy in planting. We probably should have done a relay, but I was hoping that we were gonna open, but it's rained over an inch every week. Last week it was Monday to Tuesday was the inch. I think it was Tuesday maybe. So we're ready to test. I have to call Alyssa or Dave and find out if they're still sampling or not, or if we have to go out and get a sample.
Of what, water?
Yeah, water.
We did that last week. Sean and I went out last week.
But that was for Southport Beach.
Southport.
Yeah, no, this would be for reopening.
Okay.
Is anyone able to actually do a sample tomorrow?
I can't this week, but I could, not next week. I wouldn't be able to get out there till, I'll be in New
Because
Jersey
of
in
the
the next
tide.
2 weeks. Mhm. It's tomorrow at 6 a.m., 6:39 the next day.
That's rough.
Yeah.
So Thursday, yeah, 5:42 a.m. I don't think anyone's going out there then.
A little early.
That's a lot.
All right, so we're not going to do any sampling because the next tide is at 6:17 and it's pitch black. So we're going to probably, unless the state has done their own sampling or lets us open, we're probably going to be closed this weekend. So is what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought we were going to be able to sample last week, and then it rained, and it said like 1.02 inches. Are you kidding me? Yeah, we could have done, so doing a relay, our last shot is, we have till the 15th of November. Our only tide that's good is Friday, and I don't think it's going to happen. So, we have some clams in the water.
Yeah, and it's been closed, so.
And it's been closed, so that'll hold us over, but we're gonna be very sparse on clams coming up in the spring. So we'll have to figure out what to do. I mean, I would try to get a relay together for Friday, but we're possibly gonna reopen if we shut for 2 weeks, right before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I think people are gonna be like, I'm not buying a permit next year,
Yep.
so.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we're done for the year on relays and market buys and
Yeah.
planting. Anyone have anything else about that?
Nope.
No. All right, let's go to water and habitat quality. Cindy?
Okay.
Okay, so, during the reporting month referenced above, the rain gauge at the town hall weather station registered approximately 8.25 inches of rain. The total amount of days that shell fishing was closed for this calendar year throughout the last day, excuse me, of the reporting month is 119. We were, so October, it says, days open for October is 0 and closed is 31.
All right, well, I'll make a call tomorrow and see if they can open us or not. If not, we'll plan on sampling at some point, Monday or Tuesday. I'll have to call Alyssa and schedule to bring in samples.
Okay.
Anything else on water and habitat?
No.
Nope.
All right. We can go to permits and access. Cindy?
Okay, so it says total recreational permits issued is 412. Email is 86. Clam Clinic had 10, and online was 316.
All right. That saving paper thing really worked out.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anything else on permits and access? All good? Southport Beach reopening. Sean?
Let's go to Cindy. Cindy ran our sampling last week.
Cindy.
Yeah, let me just get the date that we went out.
By the way, I want to put Cindy's daughter's boyfriend on the short list for joining the commission when seats open up. He was awesome. He attended, went station by station, very interested. Cindy, you got his name.
Yeah.
He was awesome.
Nice.
That's Garrett.
Garrett was great.
So, I actually do not have, okay, so we did testing on November 2nd, and, I think we went out at about 11 o'clock, about 11 o'clock in the morning, maybe?
Yep.
And brought the water samples up. They were happy with them. We haven't heard anything back from them, have we? I know I haven't gotten an email from Alyssa. Have you?
I haven't. I mean, on a certain level, I think we were squashed so many times with scheduling and
The tide charts.
getting the samples. Thank you, Cindy, for driving the last sample. It's not as easy as you think to get them when we need to get them, given the tides, and get them to aquaculture when they'll accept them.
Yeah. Alyssa admitted, she said it's been very difficult this year with the drought and then the tide charts, the lab availability. It's going full circle with the frustrations.
Yep.
But we're just going to keep on trying and keep it going.
All right. Good. I forgot, in water and habitat quality, on Saturday, was it this Saturday or last Saturday? Yeah, it was the past Saturday. I was coming back from, when did we do the
It was the 29th, October
29th. So on the way back, I spotted the gigantic sewage spill right by my house.
Oh, boy.
So a pipe had backed up, and all the sewage just flooded, like, near the entrance ramp of 95. So I let Tim Bishop know, and he found out that Public Works had unblocked the clog. But I still called the DEP and had the hazmat unit come out, and they looked at it, and the fire department was there, and they looked at it, and no one could figure out whose it was. But the next day it was gone, so someone cleaned it up.
Okay, good.
Which was good because it was extremely disgusting. It was full of toilet paper, napkins, grease.
It wasn't from the rest stop?
It most likely from the rest stop, is my guess. So luckily it got cleaned up and didn't affect our water quality. So,
Wow.
done with that. All right, Southport Beach, we're all set with that, Sean and Cindy?
Yep.
All right, and Bruce?
That's all that's going on.
All right. Commercial shellfish regulations. So last month, a couple of shellfishermen came in. They want to buy some commercial permits. And I told them that we weren't issuing any permits at the moment, but we discussed it while we're at our spat collector oyster removal. And so me and Tim discussed it, and we feel that we probably shouldn't issue any permits that would allow anyone to go up into Sasko Creek, Mill River, Pine Creek, or Ash Creek. There's just the first Sasko Creek, there's not enough oysters there to be commercially harvested. Mill River is, there's oysters there, but I don't think commercial boats going in between all the boats and everything, and even when the boats are out, is a good idea, because I'm not sure what moorings are in there or anything like that. Plus, I just don't.
The moorings, John, the moorings do not get pulled.
Right. So they'd have to hand rake around moorings, and I just don't think there's not enough oyster in that water there. We've tried to do some restoration in there, so I don't see why we, let any companies in. And then the last one is Ash Creek, which is seems like it's the state's pride and joy right now. Yeah, it is loaded with oysters, but if we were to take those oysters out, it's going to take ages to get oysters to grow back there. We have regulations there. They're really tough. I just think that we don't need to have any commercial activity in Ash Creek right now, or ever. So if there were going to be any commercial regulations, I think it would have to be out in open water, and we could make some regulations as they used to be, where you could get 13 bushels of clams a day, and then make up something with oysters. But Fairfield just doesn't have what a commercial company wants, other than up in Ash Creek. And I just worry if we issue a permit that we're going to go to Ash Creek one day and there's not going to be any oysters in there. So as of now, our regulations stay the same. I say that we don't issue any permits. There's Tim and Sean in agreement with that?
Yes.
Agreed.
All right.
Yep.
So,
I'm in agreement.
good. All right. Down the road, when Southport Harbor gets dredged, or the channel gets dredged, and they're going to dump all that sand out in a certain area, we may want to contact some commercial interest to come in and harvest in the area where the sand's going to be dumped beforehand, and maybe do a split with them, or just, anything.
Yeah.
But at the moment, we're not going to do anything with the regulations. We also have to have a special meeting in order to change our regulations. So, we'd have to schedule that. We'd have to have all our paperwork drawn up, and then we'd have to post that and come in either early, have a special meeting before our meeting, or after our meeting, or on a separate night. So I just don't think that's going to happen this year. Maybe in January, February, when it's a little slower, we can discuss it further.
Mm-hmm.
Good?
Good.
Yep.
All right. Oyster bed development.
Yeah.
All right. So we had our spat collector removal and cleaning and bagging of the oysters. It was a really good day. The weather was nice. We had a ton of volunteers there,
Mm-hmm.
like a dozen maybe.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And we knocked it out pretty quick.
Really
We
quick.
did still catch a lot of oysters. I think we put in around 64 spat collectors, and we pulled 60 of them out of there.
Mm-hmm.
4 of them will be located in a somewhat different date. But no, and out of those 60, we probably got a good 60,000 oysters at least.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of bags in the harbor. So we caught really well over there. What else? So other than that, Tim's still collecting shell, obviously. We all heard that.
Mm-hmm.
I met with some people the other day. Let me get their names. Hold on. All right, so I met with a team from the Pew Charitable Trust. I'm looking at the text here. I thought I was going to have their names, but I don't. So I met with Tessa Getchis from Yukon Sea Grant and a couple people from Pew. They're actually independent of Pew, but they helped write the new Shellfish Restoration Guide, and we did a little walkthrough over at Ash Creek. Tessa went down and pulled out some shell that we had planted, and it was covered in oysters front and back. So far, so good with our restoration over there. Everyone loves to go walking around over there because you can see millions of oysters. And Tessa gives us credit for all those oysters. So it's pretty good. So down the road, we may be hearing more from Pew, and hopefully we can get some of the restoration going on here. That would be nice. I think that's it with oyster bed development, right?
Yeah.
You doing anything else with it?
Quiet season is upon us.
Anyone else got anything? Nope. All right. We'll go to communications. How about you, Sean?
Sure. So we continue to post the educational instructions about never picking up shellfish where one shouldn't, and why one should only do it at Tasco in the recreational beds. We also covered the now regionally famous Spadapalooza, promoted it a few times on Facebook, covered it on Instagram. Seems like you're saying I wasn't able to be there this past time. We got, a dozen volunteers or so?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm wondering what people think might help us get more volunteers. If we're going to call it Spadapalooza, I will just put it on the table. We might want to have a musical act down there at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning. It's crazy, it's weird, but it's the kind of crazy weird that might get people grabbing a couple of kids and saying, let's get out of the house and go do a thing for 2 hours. We don't have to obviously address it. It's going to be a year before the next one. But I like Spadapalooza as a name. It's very promotable, and I think if we had a band down there, could make it just our bit of crazy.
You know, Sean, we just went over it, and there was actually 17 volunteers there. There was
17? Cool.
Yeah, there was 4 latecomers that pumped it up.
I mean, I guess this is a silly question, but I have done it for the last couple of years. Any reason why we wouldn't want triple that number? Just to get down, just takes lets people eat more donuts, have more coffee, jump back on a one of those one of the high tops and scrape them off. I guess I'm thinking anything we can do to make our events more fun for a family in the mornings, like we should do it. So in any case, we can revisit this closer to next year.
Sure.
I know that I got to work with a couple of the kids that were from aquaculture. There was a young lady and one of the other volunteers, Campbell. I know that they had a lot of fun going and helping dump the bucket of spat into the tumbler.
Yeah.
And one of the girl had specifically, she said, I had so much fun doing this. She said, I definitely want to come back next year. So, hearing a teenager say that they had fun doing something like that, it meant a lot. So
I guess my gut feel is, I feel like once we're all in the groove and you're scraping the stuff off of there, you feel like you've got to keep grinding, and that's good. But if we had 2 or 3 times as many volunteers, you could grind one and then go have some donuts, have some coffee, have some hot chocolate, relax. It would be a little bit more relaxing for teens who might not want to do it solid for 2 hours. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I agree. But my point was that we did something good, and if teenagers were kind of interested in it, and we need to build on that. But we're at a good place. We were at a good place with this last one, so we will definitely keep on thinking of ways to improve it.
Yep.
And we did have Joan Seguin came from Greenwich.
Joan Tracy, sorry.
Joan Tracy?
Yeah. I think that's what it is, right?
Joan came from Greenwich, Shellfish, and there was, the teacher from aquaculture, right?
And her son.
Yeah, and then,
Those two guys whom you talked to, remember?
yeah, Zosha Bowman was there, and, I guess this is part of communications. Bruce, you want to talk about what Zosha did? You and Zosha out in the creek there?
Yeah, we went out and we measured, I don't know, 6 or 7 spots in a designated. She had a grid, and we would pick up. She would count the number of oysters and then count the number of live ones and dead ones and record that after she had measured each one. And she was very, very happy. She considers that Ash Creek area really to be a nursery. And I've never. She would pick up a shell and say, "Isn't this fantastic?" She got excited about all of it, and that was we got a lot of data, and she's going to put it all together. And then further to your discussion previously about the aquaculture school, I'm going to be talking further with Dave Henry, who's the director, on number one, I want to get more kids involved. Number two, I'd like to have some of the students be involved in making a video. They have a video department or a group at aquaculture, and unfortunately, we didn't videotape any of this, but these kids really had a good time, and I think that if we promoted this within aquaculture school, we could get a significant number. And also, I've talked to the folks at the magnet school. I've talked to one of the principals there who's principal of the bio high school, and talking about some of the biology students being involved in doing what we're doing, specifically taking some of the data that we're gathering in Southport Harbor with the USGS information that the State Department of Aquaculture gathers, and aggregating that data because it may be of interest to students who want to study it further. But I think that the students at the magnet school, who are there obviously full-time, and the students at the aquaculture school, who are there 1 day a week, all are potential people who will not only potentially participate, but also get their families to do so.
All right. Yeah. All right. Anything else on communications? Thank you, Bruce.
Thanks, Bruce.
We're good? All right. Downwellers, no report.
Let's get the plug back in.
Yeah. We got to put the plugs back in, and we probably should put tie downs around them.
Should I order? Okay, you want to do tie downs, or do you want to order more of the rubber straps?
We could order the rubber straps. That's probably easier.
I'll try to do that.
All right. If not, we can get long tie downs and just looping around each one.
Yeah. Okay. I think that would make.
All right. So downwellers are shut down. Reports from the Conservation Department. Shellfish fund balance is $33,276.12 as of October 31st, 2022. That'll go down soon enough. We probably have some things that larger expenses coming up in the future. We'll talk about that when we get to other. B, shellfish permits. We had the report. We had 412 permits this year. Shellfish closure period. Cindy already reported on that. And our Shellfish Commission budget status. So Tim's putting together the budget now. You all got the email today?
Mm-hmm.
So we should probably start discussing that if we want to, I don't think we probably even used our whole budget this year, but, we could do, if we have money we can spend, we could do a last minute plan buy mark it by and get some more clams in there just in case we're gonna open.
Where are we at?
What do we have for, that's the, what do they call it? Special duty or something, right?
Grand total, looks like we spent 5,751, and we're 7,000, right?
Yeah.
They're now our grand.
So this goes all the way until July, so we'll probably use up all the money by then, right? All right, so we'll figure out what we want to do, if we want to stay the same or if we're going to add anything to it. Our fund is way up there, so we should probably use some of our fund for purchases versus a town budget. What do you have to say, Tim, Bishop?
Yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there to, if somebody was going to say, we're going to make a big capital purchase or anything that needed to change, to let me know as soon as possible, so I could add that and turn that over to finance. Little things aren't that big of a deal. I could add those down the road, but if it was anything significant, I'd want to let the budget director know.
All right. I don't think we have anything yet, so.
No. Plus we have the fund.
Yeah, fund is,
Not
should fund us.
growing.
All right. So that's it for budget status. All right, let's approve the meeting minutes of October 12th, 2022. Did everyone have a chance to look at the meeting minutes of October 12th? Are there any changes, corrections?
I didn't have anything.
I didn't have anything.
No.
All right, does someone want to make a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for October 12th, 2022.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion approved. Okay, so, someone saying something? All right, old business is done. New business. If you look at the last 2 pages of the packet, we have our shellfish pathology report. So a couple months ago, Tim Macklin went out and collected 30 oysters and brought them to the lab, and the lab tested them, and the report came back very good. So you can look at the report. I think it's on one of the last 4 pages, but basically, 60% of the oysters had dermo, but the intensity was low. No MSX, no SSO. Then if you go to the second page of that, go to the summary, the animals were examined using the triplex quantitative PCR method, and, they were lightly positive for dermo and negative for both SSO and MSX. So that was a good report. So we know we have healthy oysters over at Sasko Beach.
Positive.
And some of those might be lineage of Ash Creek at one time, so that's a good sign. All right. Town of Westport, all set. Informational. Anyone got any informational? No. So Connecticut Public Television is going to really interview me today, and we might have a little part in a documentary coming up about resiliency, and I'll get more information on it. I have to meet a reporter from CPTV on Thursday or Friday. So I may need some a couple of people, maybe one person or something, to pretend we're actually doing some work out in the creek, but we can pick up shell and count oysters and, maybe do something,
John, it's Sean. So is this, somebody's going to interview you down at the creek from PBS?
So, no, CPTV, not really PBS. It's the other channel that you only get in Connecticut.
Okay, but even so, are they going to have folks there recording videos? Can we have folks video both?
So I don't know yet. I just had the pre-interview today, and I was in a bad area, and so I'm going to be talking to him early next week, and then I'll find out what's going to happen.
All right, so do me a favor, keep me in the loop on that. I can try and find a way to be down there or find a way to get some video recorded. We want to push that stuff out.
Yeah, I'll have to talk to him about that.
Okay.
You know, if they're making a movie, I doubt they want us to use the same kind of footage.
Or at least wait to release it.
Yeah, or a documentary or something. So Tim, you might know about that, but I'm probably...
Usually they want to wait till it's aired or close to when it's airing before anything's released, but, so, I mean, you can just ask them.
Okay.
Documentary makers
but
want all the promotion they can get.
Yeah.
Someone else was saying something?
Yeah, I think that Ash Creek is a pretty powerful visual when you, given how long it's been an oyster designated oyster area, which is over 100 years, obviously. But when you look at it today, as you pointed out earlier, it's pretty impressive. It really sends a message.
If you we walk back, when did I meet them? Monday.
Monday, yeah.
And we walked all the way in the back, and there's just so many oysters in the back now. You know, and it's from not only our commission, but a previous commission put a lot of shell up in Ash Creek, and I know a storm pushed it around, but a lot of that is getting set on it now. I mean, we've been putting shell in that creek for a while, but so it will be a small part of this. You know, Norm Bloom's gonna they're gonna get on his boats and stuff like that, the shell sucking boats and everything. So, but we might get a little part in this thing. We'll go to other. So our
John,
boat.
We jumped over a piece of new business. We could jump back.
Oh, go ahead. What was the new business?
Shellfish Commission. Since the last meeting, I went to Bryac, spoke to some folks at Nordic Fish, didn't hear back from either of them. They are Shell partners. I went to the Grey Goose and spoke to Bill, who's the longtime manager there. His expression was, yeah, he would be very into doing this.
Well,
and I think it's one of those places where people in our town go to eat oysters. I think it's a great match.
Yeah.
As far as numbers go, what I would like to propose is, so they sell a half dozen oysters, either on the half shell or baked, for $15.95. That's $31.90 for a dozen. 7.35% tax is $2.34. So the total for a dozen oysters at the Grey Goose is $31.24. Cards get printed on moo.com. If you guys know, that's the place that does these things pretty efficiently. You can make really cool designs. We can get 50 of them done for $71.52. So the total I like to propose here is for 10 dozen oyster events to happen at the Grey Goose in the next 30 days. $383.92. The card would have on it, courtesy of the Fairfield Shellfish Commission, basically said that we've just bought you these dozen oysters. There would be a QR code to our Facebook page, which is free. I can generate that off of a free app that lets people at the table quite literally just give their phone, put it on photo, and bam, the thing pops up. They'll be right on our Facebook page. I think it's the kind of experience we want people to have. We can encourage them to, I'll put the Grey Goose's Facebook page as well, and ours, or, Instagram, whatever it might be. The goal would be, it's holiday season, we get a bunch of people out, they're thrilled, this is really fun, they're happy, they post a bunch of stuff naming us and the Grey Goose, and sort of word gets out, and our message gets beyond the current folks who already have permits, and we start to permeate into additional groups in town. So again, the number I'd be looking for all of this is $383.92, which would be 10 dozen oyster events happening at that place. Bill would be the only person given the cards. He would be in charge of putting them onto the metal pan with the ice. We've all seen that as it comes out. He understands he cannot delegate that to other folks at the restaurant.
All right, so we've discussed things before, such as selling clamming rakes and baskets and things like that, and we decided that that would be taking away from local businesses. It would have raised some money for the Shellfish Commission. So my worry here is that why would the Fairfield Shellfish Commission want to give a restaurant 10 dozen meals, like pay for 10 dozen meals? It seems, I don't know, it's a perception on that. I'm worried the perception will be, first off, why is the Shellfish Commission paying for meals at a high-end restaurant? And then where is that money coming from? Is it going to come from the town budget? Is it coming from our fund? It's really hard. I have a hard time saying, all right, the Grey Goose, let's take 10 dozen oysters. How do we do that? Does anyone know what I'm trying to say here?
Yeah, no, I mean, it seems like a little bit of a favoritism. I mean, for one thing, I don't think we should be doing it there until they start recycling shell. I think supporting a restaurant that isn't recycling shell is kind of contradictory to what we believe in. So we're buying oysters from them, giving them away, and then they're not recycling away. So I think if we do want to do it with them, they have to start recycling. I've approached them 3 or 4 times and not heard back. I don't know how many. Did you go back to Bryac, or did you just go there once?
I went there once. They didn't get back to me. I know that you've said that the great for recycling.
Yeah.
So I guess the question becomes, where does it start? Does it start with this, and then they're more amenable to recycling, or do we demand recycling in order to do this? I come from a long marketing and advertising history in New York at companies like Apple and Paramount Pictures, and at some point we're talking about a pilot program here. When you launch a pilot program, you don't twist arms. You look towards who is most open to doing the thing that you want, and you use them as your case study to entice others down the line. So I'm not saying Bryac is bad for not getting back to me, but they didn't.
Well,
so we find the person that is enthusiastic.
Grey Goose hasn't got back to me.
Enthusiasm, and we build from there.
But,
doesn't mean we can't expand next month or the month after that.
I know, but I don't want to offend Bryac if they find out that we're doing this. Say, hey, you've been a long-term, shell recycling, and now you guys are doing that program here, not here. Just because they don't get back to you once. Like I said, I reached out to Grey Goose 3 or 4 times, and they have not gotten back to me. So they'll get back to you when we want to spend money with them, but they won't get back to you when we want to do a free program for them.
So the issue is, I'm going to tell you the truth, this is the issue, is that if we do this at Grey Goose, it could be, let's just say any restaurant. Say we did it at Martel, and we just did it at Martel, and we didn't offer it up to every restaurant in Fairfield that served oysters. Then, what am I going to say when the call comes in and someone's complaining? Or the other thing is, when someone starts complaining, why is the Shellfish Commission buying these oysters at a fairly high-end restaurant? Shouldn't that money be going to buy clams? So how do we justify the Grey Goose part of it, or the Martel,
Hang on.
or
There's 2 things.
Well, hold on, I'm not done.
This idea 2 meetings ago, when we agreed it was worth pursuing. The question came, who are we doing it with? So, in contacting people and not hearing back from some and getting a positive response from others, and not limiting our distribution in the future to just that one place, I'm not quite sure what we're arguing about, guys. Grey Goose wants to start. If we think it's a good idea, we agree that it's a good idea, and they've agreed they want to start, we start with them. And if other folks want to do it, we pull back the number, whatever the number is we want to commit per month. We pull back on Grey Goose, and we give some to the others. We are fair, and we spread it out. We try and see where it's working best. We're not committed to some long-term commitment to Grey Goose. But when you have an idea that works, and you have a partner that wants to move forward, and they're fully capable of doing it, I'm not quite sure why we're holding back from people who aren't partners or didn't respond and not moving forward with what we already agreed was a good idea.
Yeah, so if it's about PR, right, we could do it once or twice. 10 times is you know, if I'm buying Greg Jensen or Ray Dalio, who go to Artisan and stuff, oysters, people are, you know, some people, who do we pick to give the oysters to also? There's people that go to restaurants that don't want to be seen on Instagram or know they're there. Like, so all of a sudden we're just giving oysters. You know, I don't see 10 times. I see once or twice. And, you know, and we're relying on someone to then post on their own on Instagram. I have to, as a chairman, I have to question, you know, the funds of paying a restaurant $300 and something for some photographs and that. You know, I thought we might do it like once or twice and see how it goes before we, you know, commit to a contract with somebody.
I think that the optics of it, the concept may be good, but I think the optics of a town commission underwriting meals that are a fancy product, which oysters are, at any restaurant in the town, sort of sends a strange message, I think, as John mentioned at the beginning. Where are you getting your money? And okay, we get money from permits, but we also, what is Tim Bishop talking about? He's talking about our budget from the town. This seems like a time when you don't want to be saying, well, we want this much money from the town, and we're giving away food or oysters specifically that's worth this much. And somebody says, well, why is the town underwriting free oysters to people? If we were buying oysters to put into the water, that would be different. But when it's going into people's mouths, I think that's a hard. It's problematic
One,
in terms of.
I mean, if a call comes in, how do I explain why we bought a meal for someone at Grey Goose? You know, I could
or anywhere,
photo op.
You know,
yeah, anywhere. But you know, the impression of, you know, most of the people in town don't live in Southport, and I know what the impression is going to be with most of the people that buy these permits, and they're going to be like, wait a second, someone got free oysters at Grey Goose, you know. So it's a tough one, and I don't think we can really definitely can't use the town budget for that, and it's a tough one to use our Shellfish Fund. You know, if it's once or twice, then I could justify, you know, it's less than $100. It's for promotional, to try to sell permits, get people at our events and things like that. But to say, all right, we're going to do this 10 times at this one restaurant, I wouldn't be able to vote yes on that. No. I'd have to say no.
I think in theory it might not be a bad. I just think there's also other ways to promote what we're doing, like through, you know, if we're trying to get more people to our social media accounts, you can still raffle something off to people to follow us and say, all right, tag us in so many things to get people, whoever tags us the most times gets something. So it's a direct, you know, it's just a little bit more direct way of doing it. Like I said, it's not.
And I really think probably we should go back to Bryac and talk to the owner
one more time.
And then also maybe Nordic Fish and talk to Yardar.
Yeah.
And even Martel, who's provided us shell for years, right at the moment they're not, just because we don't want to make the extra stop for one bucket. But
I'll definitely go back to them. There was months where they just weren't filming.
But you know, then it's justifiable that they've been doing this and, you know, helping us to rebuild these beds. And here's sort of it promotes both us and the restaurant.
I want to promote the people that have been helping us out. I mean, their shell has been a direct.
I think we really need to stick with, if we're going to do it at all, stick with our shell partners and to limit it to once or twice. We'll get, and just to see if nothing gets uploaded to Instagram or anything like that, then we know, you know.
Yeah.
And if we're banking on, well, if we do it 10 times, we're definitely going to get something on Instagram. It's going to have to be. Yeah, I can't even, I wouldn't be able to say yes to that either. I have to limit it to like once or twice, just
Yeah.
for photo ops.
No, I mean, that makes sense.
Tim Bishop, you got anything to say on this?
Yeah, I think it's a start of a good discussion. Yeah, I see the marketing end. I also see the appearance of the financial end. But I think it's a start of a again a good discussion of how can we can we have some kind of contest, use the gift cards as a gift, some type of giveaway type of thing. I think that's justifiable. But sparking the interest in the oyster, but also coordinating with the restaurant to come up with some type of partnership. And maybe it is just short term. Hey, and maybe the restaurant somewhere would be willing to donate the meal, and we get it on the gift card and say, we're working with these guys for recycling, and I think the discussion should continue because it is, there could be a mutual benefit for a restaurant, especially around the holidays, but also, benefit and self-promote our program.
All right, so I think that we still move on, but we talk to Yardar and we talk to the owner of Bryac.
Or see if Greg was to start recycling. I think,
Yeah.
They go hand in hand. I think that
It has to. There's no other way we can do it.
Yeah.
It has to be someone that is, since we've been using this term shell partner for a few months, it has to be a shell partner.
Yeah, I like the idea of if it's something to reward, not saying reward, but, as a sign of appreciation to our partners that we are gifting this out in some way, rather than just doing like 10 times in 1 month. Seems like a lot.
Yeah. I think it's easier to exactly that. You justify to say we've been a partner, they've been a partner with us, and this is, it's mutually beneficial. We get more shell for our restoration projects, and, they can promote their restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
It also seems that maybe starting with our shell partners, that we could not necessarily give away free oysters, but we could give away a little card that said, you obviously love oysters, and here's Fairfield's best kept secret is for $20 you can have a permit and have fun digging your own. I mean, just promote, and then there's a QR code in there that brings them to a permit application or whatever it may be. I think that the people that are buying oysters, and if you target them as obviously liking the taste of oysters, that they might have fun harvesting it. I've talked to many of my friends and said, you can get these right down at Sasko Beach. All you need to do is get a permit for $20. And they go, wow, I didn't know that. So maybe if we don't have to give them anything, but give them the information, and I think that some of them would respond.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Or even if they if they're getting oysters at some place, if they're getting oysters at Bryac or something, and they tag us and they tag the restaurant and post it, they're entered in a raffle to win a $30 or $50 gift certificate to the restaurant. So you're getting them to post it. It'd be a random selection of who ends up winning. It has to be someone that's, tagged us, tagged the restaurant, so we're both getting publicity out of it. And then you just have a random raffle. So you're not just randomly choosing that couple over there looks nice, we're going to give them free oysters.
Right. Yeah. I don't even know how any of it works. We're not going to be there. So I think we have to put it to further discussion.
Yeah, I think
we need to talk to Bryac and
develop it more,
and Nordic Fish, and possibly Martel if he's interested in doing the bucket again.
Mm-hmm.
They change chefs down there. So.
Yeah, I'll stop by there.
Yeah.
I have time coming up.
But I think we need to talk to those people first, and then push it out.
Yeah.
Push it to the next meeting and see what happens.
Yeah.
Everyone in agreement with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
I am,
All
yep.
right. Okay. So we're gonna go to other, which is the aw shucks. The aw shucks is starting to rot away. But it's not in such dire shape that we have to, turn it into firewood yet. It's got a little bit of rot on the transom, which is not a great spot, but it's on the top half, which can be cut out and replaced. There's a little rot on a couple of pieces of wood inside the boat. That can either be fiberglassed or epoxied. We want to keep the boat afloat for one more year and then retire it. We're not going to buy a brand new boat this year, and we're required to buy new. So right now, the aw shucks is out in front of the conservation workshop. If anyone wants to go do an inspection, they can. We did. Someone talked about the boat building program at the aquaculture school.
Paul Troop, right.
Paul Troop. We could talk to Paul Troop and see if he wants to take on the project of the aw shucks, which is it's based on a Brockway skiff, which is probably one of the boats they learn about, and see if they can do, we could pay for materials and maybe they would do the repairs. And then we'll see what happens with that.
I'll follow up with Paul.
All right, so do you want to, Bruce, possibly if you're around, go down to the conservation workshop and snap a couple pictures, or are you going to talk to Paul via the telephone or the internet?
Well, I'll probably get down there, look at the boat, take some pictures, give Paul a call, and maybe we can arrange to meet down. I can send them some pictures. Meet down there and look at it and say, no, this isn't, or doesn't fit into his curriculum. I don't know, So
right.
we'll find out. But it never hurts to ask.
Yeah. I think it's a great.
You'd probably sell them on it, though.
Yeah.
It's a classic scow or whatever you want to call that thing. But all right, you do that, and we're if that doesn't work out, then I talked to Tom Course today, and he says he thinks he knows how to do it, and then I could work together with them or whatever. I recently cut some wood, so I'm up on my game with that. So, all right, any other? The public all left. Who wants to make a motion to adjourn this meeting?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting of November 9th, 2022.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.